and welcome back to the weekend jam in Euler Room. This jam today has Livecode musicians and artists improvising an audiovisual experience for you. Crow means go. We see the official banner here. It says crow means go. I think that the recording missed the crow sound, but they're coming back in, or at least a modulated variation thereof. That low rumbling sound that we heard at the very beginning is actually the crow sound even. And you hear it right now as this rumbly kind of expression. We've turned the crow into a rumble by using this speed call. The speed function slows down the sample. What just came in over here? Let's take a look at the F minor 11 chord that unknown deleter created. And Pony has given us a cowbell and a bass drum. Oh, look at this 3/8 rhythm, Euclidean rhythm on the cowbell. In a moment, I'm going to pull up the Toussaint Euclidean rhythms paper and show you this rhythm and many more. Let's take a look in the top right to find some punctual code that Cleary is currently providing. We see janeishly over here, and Fido as well. These are the performers who have started the session with us. So, in this session today, I want to open up that Toussaint paper, which we'll get to in just a bit, and we'll also look at some more docs. We did that a little bit last time, and it's a good thing to get in the habit of, so let's get to it. The final thing we'll observe here is that unknown deleter has assigned a bassoon to the F minor 11 chord. We see a call to voicing, which is how we're able to write a chord symbol like this. And we see an ARP call, ARP, ARP, which is arpeggiating over the chord tones themselves. Arpeggiation over chords is the most explicit way to outline harmony using a monophonic voice. And the bassoon is traditionally a monophonic voice. Monophonic means, 13/16. This is another Euclidean we have to get to, so let's finish the bassoon talk. Monophonic means that the instrument is only capable of performing one note at a time, whereas a polyphonic instrument is capable of performing more than one note at a time. So the human voice, for example, is monophonic, but a piano is polyphonic. And the ARP function is something that monophonic instruments can use to emulate polyphonic behavior. Especially if you do it in really fast notes, like 16th notes or 32nd notes, or if you use a fast call, .fast4, .fast8 on an ARP, then that will produce notes that are so short that they might begin to evoke the full chord. But there is always a very clear auditory distinction between the notes that are simultaneous and those that are separated or delineated. Okay, let me grab my paper and let's take a look for 13/16 and 3/8. 1316 does not appear, so let's just get to 3/8. Okay, I'll drag my paper over here. Oh, we have a chordal bassoon. Here it is. The bassoon is now playing full chords because we removed the ARP call. We're no longer arpeggiating these chords, but instead we're performing all of the notes required to reproduce these chords. The fact that it's polyphonic on a bassoon, of course, doesn't matter for strudel. It's just something I like to remark. And it does call back to the string quartet challenge from last session. Artificial constraints can help you be creative. So if you haven't seen this paper, getting finally onto the paper, this is the Euclidean algorithm generates traditional musical rhythms by Godfried Toussaint. And this is the gold mine of data for rhythm. This doesn't describe all rhythms ever, but it does describe the majority of rhythms that people like on Earth. Traditional world music should not be taken lightly here. We're talking about the music of people all over Earth. And even though that might not be what you hear on Top 40 today, you are guaranteed that all of it is influenced by those traditional musics, because they came from those traditional musics. Okay, this mix is too good. So that's a teaser on the paper. Let's get back to the jam for a bit and see what happened since we left. Over here in this strudel cell in the bottom left, I'm working on a drum pattern. I'm using this snare drum, bass drum, hi-hat, and open hat samples from the TR-909 bank. This is me trying a new way of writing drum patterns. Historically, I've always put every drum sample on its own line so that I can have very clear control over it. But I've noticed a lot of livecoders doing this pattern, where we write out the sample names as a patterned sequence in one line. And the utility of that is, one, it actually does better represent what a human drummer is doing. A human drummer has up to 3 limbs, and they're usually using 1 or 2 at a time, but it's possible to use all 3. The limbs are your left and right arms, which will be hitting instruments like a snare drum, tom, or cymbal, or hi-hat. And your left or right leg will be used to play a kick drum or perhaps a different cymbal. And whenever we write out the sample names in this sequential pattern, it does better reflect what most drummers are capable of doing themselves. Any drummer could absolutely play this pattern. Oh, here's another 5/8 Euclidean pattern, 5,8 that we want to investigate on that paper. We have a high-pass filter here of 5,000. That means that we're only letting the high information through. We're cutting out all the low register contents, such as the bass drum. So even though there is a bass drum sample in here, we're only getting the high-frequency components from it. Hello, infinitysnapz. Welcome to the jam. The high-pass Q value here of 20 is what gives the open hat specifically a very resonant quality. You can hear it. Boom, boom. Choo, choo. That resonance is due to the high-pass Q. There it was. The high-pass inf function is another new trick that I learned from Swan in Swan's acid tutorial a few weeks ago. For acid, you usually use low-pass Q and low-pass inf, but the high-pass also has correlated functions, and they just have a different effect. Finally, there's some delay on it. I'm using Orbit 2. Orbit 2 means that this is going into a separate delay channel. If I didn't specify this orbit 2, then these delay parameters would actually be also affecting this below delay call too. We see that infinitysnapz is putting a delay on this clap, but because there's no orbit assignment, it's just going to the default orbit of 1. And all delay modulations, such as feedback and delay time, can operate onto the same orbit regardless of where they're called. So that's why I like to specify orbit 2 so that my delay settings don't interfere with any other delay settings. Oh, it looks like infinitysnapz is trying to use the shorthand syntax for delay, but that needs to have some double quotations around it so that it can be a pattern. Currently, this value that I'm gesturing at is not a JavaScript value, nor is it a strudel value. I hope that they'll be able to figure it out. The error message on the bottom right says unexpected token at line 5, position 31, and that is indeed line 5, 31. The unexpected token is the period. We instead expect to see a double quotation mark before the period and again after the 5 to wrap this expression into a pattern. So I'm sorry, infinitysnapz, your delay isn't working. Perhaps Pony or unknown deleter might be able to help. Maybe, maybe not. Oh no. So now unknown deleter is unknowingly, and I would do the same thing. I mean, I don't always read every line of code that I'm around. Unknown deleter is trying to evaluate an update, but it won't work. So this bottom left cell has not updated probably in a few minutes at this point. So no matter what else you write here, these things are blocked. The new line that Pony is working on is blocked by this syntax error that is still unresolved. Okay, unknown deleter is attempting to underscore to identify errors maybe, or is just trying to clean up the mix. I don't think that underscoring prevents syntax evaluation though, so that does give us a +1 for using comments to hide code instead of the underscore. I think underscore is best applied as a quick mute, as a quick way to mute and unmute instruments. Oh, this poor cell on the bottom left. Okay, well, I promised you some Euclidean rhythms. Let's get back to it. I've got the paper open, and let's just search for 3,8 in the paper. Okay, so we have a few outcomes. This is probably the most common rhythm that we use in Strudel 2. I know that I and other Livecode musicians use it all the time. It's called the Tresio rhythm. Has origins in Cuba. And it's just one of many Euclidean patterns that have a specific name. 5/8 was another one that we just recently saw, and this is the Cinquillo pattern. So the 3/8 and 5/8 patterns are most strongly identified with Cuban music, at least in this paper, but they do appear across the world, and especially in music today. On the radio, you hear this rhythm relentlessly. This rhythm dominates in terms of how often you hear it. 5/8. Any rhythm that ends with an 8 is going to appear more often in contemporary music on the radio. These other endings like 7 or 9 are more evocative of folk music. So here it suggests that it's an Arab rhythm, an Arabic rhythm, and that this 9 is another Arabic rhythm. We find 12s often coming in African patterns. 16 is another factor of 8, so it gets classified into the same group as far as I'm concerned. 4 as well. 3/4 is a cumbia. And there's plenty of other examples here too. Let's see what that third. This is another analysis about Euclidean strings, which is a specific subtype of Euclidean rhythms or Euclidean events sequences. It explains it all in this paper, which you can find on the web. I highly encourage you to read this paper if you haven't. It is basically standard issue. If you're a jazz musician, you know the real book, right? This is the real book for livecoders. Back to the jam. Let's just enjoy the music for a bit. It's really chill, pretty ravey right now. So much for that enjoyment. It's only an Algorave if there's an error that destroys all sound. Did that error get fixed? Yes, it looks like we did finally resolve this issue with a delay call, so that is not what broke it. Still not getting sound. Oh yeah, got no sound again. infinitysnapz says. Cleary says, I've lost sound too. Fido chimes in, me too. And me, I say, wow, we really borked it, because I also lost sound. Winning, infinitysnapz says, right, that is one way to win points at an Algorave, but the victory point cap is limited. You can do that one time. I jest. And this is a jam session, right? So it's totally not an Algorave. This is an open environment for people to try new code and experiment and learn. So now we're going through the troubleshooting process. We see Cleary here commented this out. Some more commenting's out. How will we do it? How will we solve the jam? Beep, 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 beep. I'll provide the elevator music in the meantime. Beep, 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 beep. Ooh, I wonder if I can do Euclidean rhythms. Let's do 3/8. Beep, 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 beep. What about 5/8? Where did that go? Oh, you don't need to listen to me try that. Okay, here we go. Thank goodness for that restoration. 13/8. I did not find that in here, and I'll just show you the way I looked is by searching for 13/8, and there are not any occurrences. The Euclidean algorithm is an algorithm which is defined for any number of hits greater than 0 and less than the number of events. I'm really glad we got this bottom left cell working. This pattern that infinitysnapz has been working on is really cool. Let's take a look. So this is a function call to, cat function. We can check the docs on that momentarily. But the S call is to set the sound. So let me get the docs to look at what cat does. Concatenate is typically the elongation of that word. And here it shows that cat. It took me a moment because it's actually an alias of slowcat. There's not a function called cat, but there is a function called slowcat, and the cat function is aliased to it. And it was just a little tricky to notice over here, but no big deal. Okay, concatenation combines a list of patterns, switching between them successively, one per cycle. This sounds identical to the angle bracket syntax. The difference, in the tag for slowcat is combiners. So the difference between the angle brackets and slowcat is that slowcat takes, you can see here the function, you can give it an arbitrary parameters and it will basically apply these entries. You see how the first one is a standalone note, second one is a standalone note, but the third one is an array of 2 standalone notes. And so this suggests that it's going to create 3 different patterns, or a cycle of 3 different, a series of 3 different sequences. The first one will be an E5 at 1 cycle, the second will be B4 at 1 cycle, and the third is going to split that 1 cycle into 2 halves and evenly distribute it into D5 and C5. Let's go back to the jam and see if that cat function is still here. So here, the cat function, we have 1 pattern, and then a comma outside of parentheses, outside of quotation marks, and then another pattern. And so what that means here is that this comma is not being used to create a stack, but instead it's being used to create an alternating series. There is redundant use of these angle brackets though. It looks like this livecoder might still be finding the the conventional ways to write patterns, because right now this angle bracket is not alternating anything. This one is also not alternating anything because the square brackets take precedence. The square brackets, again, divide this into 2 1/2 cycle events, and this is creating 7 events. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't think that's happening. I think this ply6 is what's causing the replications over here. I'm not sure that these multiplication symbols are doing anything. I think the multiplication is a relative modifier, and it's relative to other events in the pattern string. So if there was another SD in this string afterwards, then these would be relatively longer by 7 times and then 3 times again to the other one. But because there's nothing else in here, there's no other patterns in there, these are the same duration as the others. And ultimately, just to clarify unambiguously, this is using 2 different mechanisms to do the same job. Cat and angle brackets do the same job. Cat function is another way of doing angle brackets. Angle brackets currently in this way it's done isn't really, you could just delete them and you'll get the same sound. So just some tips there. I hope that this helps you understand pattern syntax a bit more. Let's see what else is going on. Right above it, we have this sound, bass drum. And we're doing note selection, which is alternating these samples between 0 and 1. That means that the sample bank we draw from, if there is more than one sample in the directory called bass drum, then we're just going to select the indexed sample from that directory. And the struct call is going to impose this rhythm onto the bass drum. Oh wow, I think this ends up staying here until the end. I remember having a lot of fun with this at the end and on this struct pattern. And let's take a look at this FM synthesizer. This is also using the struct function. Here's an easier way to explain struct. Mine is doing off, on, off, on, off, on, off. Nice, Pony just changed the tempo. It was really good timing too. I had just slowed down my pattern because I wanted to add some slower sensation, phrasing, and Pony then just momentarily after, really coincidentally, slowed down the whole thing, and so now that gives me the ability to restore the tempo on mine. But the struct call is here, it's using a minus sign or hyphen to signify a rest or silence, and it uses X's to signify a truthy or pass-through event. And so struct is kind of like a filter or gate. So every time it has a minus sign, it silences or mutes the input pattern. And when it has a truthy value, X or T, then it will evaluate it and lets it pass through. And if you want something that's in between, a little maybe more indeterministic, a coin toss, you can use the question mark like I did here, which is basically a random coin toss between X or minus. We're not going to look at any of the chord stuff. I don't think we don't need to do more chord voicing talk. If you want to learn more about harmony, I'm happy to help you learn that with mnemonic theory. I write articles about music theory there on my website. There is a link in the description. So let's look at the FM synthesis. So this is the line down here. Sound saw means that our source signal is a saw wave, and we're going to use a very small amount of FM here. So the FM1 call just pretty much activates FM synthesis, but because we're doing 1, it's pass-through. The interesting thing here is FMH, FM harmonics. So FMH1 is also pretty much pass-through, except that I have attached a multiply by 1.01, and that's going to mutate the output of this add function. This moment just got so beautiful. I'll let you think about what that means while we just enjoy this sound for a moment. These pretty flowers. Cleary added an image. Okay, returning to the FM harmonics, we first pull up the docs so we can get sight, be on the same page about that. Here it is. FMH sets the frequency modulation harmonicity ratio, controls the timbre of the sound. Whole numbers and simple ratios sound more natural, while decimal numbers and complex ratios sound metallic. It has tags FM and SuperDo. So an integer value would be the IRAND. I used IRAND to select integers up to 3 randomly, and we're going to add a random integer to the number 1. So that means the harmonicity of this sound is a random value between 1 and 4. But we're also going to multiply it by 1.01. Whatever that value is, we're going to stretch it out just a bit. And doing that is going to move it just a bit more into the synthy sound zone. If you delete the multiplication, then that will actually produce a cleaner sound. I just got distracted because I realized I have a call in 12 minutes and forgot to look at the clock when I started this. So there's two options. One, we can split the video into two segments, or two, we can skip ahead and wrap up. I'm gonna do the second for today because I don't currently have a capacity to join. Yeah, it would be a lot more complicated to do the other option. So let's just take a peek up here. Woo! The entire everything has changed. The backgrounds are, the visuals, sorry, are a lot more experimental. The music is entirely different. The tempo is different. Let's do a sound sweep. Frequency detection from low to high. And the lowest registers, I hear bass drums. And low toms, perhaps. I think there's two different patterns for the bass drums and the low toms. In the low mids, we have a synthesizer. It's the main synth right now. This piece, I can tell by the highlight events. Though the text is a bit blurry right now. And in the high mids, we have the percussions. These ones. It sounds like a clap. Bop, 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 bop. That one. One lolly, two lolly. It's a triplet. One lolly, two lolly. This one right here. Ah, we're still using this ply 3 from earlier, and it's on the clap that is split onto a half cycle. So that's how we get triplets, perhaps. The mood is very calm. Oh, in the high registers, sorry to finish the sound sweep. In the high registers, we have, it sounds like a mark tree, which also is known as chimes. I can't identify the source of it here. I think it's this open hat sound? I'm not sure. But it's a very sparkly sound. The text is a bit blurry, so I'm going to jump ahead for that reason, given that we have to cut it a bit short today. The tempo change is apparent. That's the most obvious distinction from then and now. And there's more tempo change now. Good again. Text is more easy to read, so let's take a look at what's going on. Infinitysnapz still hammering away at some rhythms here. Thank you for adding some of these beat elements. Looks like they have a preferred bank called DMX. The DMX sample bank can be used for drum beats, according to Infinitysnapz, and we're getting some good results from it. Overall, the music content is pretty similar to the thing we just jumped from. It just feels faster, and I do hear a new hi-hat. That is a distinct new high frequency contribution. Let's go ahead and just do another jump ahead. Hi, it's me. That kick drum is definitely, I can tell it's me. Oh yes, this garden drum sample. We're getting a lot of glitching. I think I used too many note events. I know. If you want a big fat kick drum, it costs a lot of synthesis. The algorithm I used to create this kick drum is, first I started with 2 samples, so bass drum and SBD, which I think is sub bass drum. Oh my goodness, we got a white screen. So here you see that it's a pattern of those 2. But then we also take 1, 2, 3, 4 copies at different speeds, which gives us not just different repitched versions of it, but harmonically repitched versions of it. And then for each of those, we're going to multiply them by 1, 2, 3, 4 different copies to create yet more harmonic relations. So this is definitely way too many commas. It was the end of the jam, and we didn't have any proper techno kicks yet, so I couldn't let us get away without them. I do notice, though, some redundancies in what I'm writing. The obvious redundancy is the explicit duplication of 1.5, and then the not obvious one that I just realized now talking through it is the implicit redundancy. For example, if you do a 2/3 multiplication in speed, but then also do a 1.5 multiplication in the mul function, MUL, then you've just canceled them out and recreated the original source sample again, but costing a lot more compute. So that's just something I'm going to keep in mind the next time I do this trick, is to be a bit more aware of the samples I am requesting. Let's go ahead and just jump ahead. Yeah, this one ran about 10 minutes longer than normal. Euler Room. I love finding ASCII art. Someone got some wonderful samples. Sounds like we got those breaks. Almond breaks. Yaksus, of course. Clean breaks. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The visuals at the moment feel ultra organic now. I feel like the experimental, well, not ultra organic, but a lot more organic. The experimental stuff that was going on earlier is now converged, mixed up in a way that is a lot slower. It feels natural. It feels continuous. It doesn't feel jumpy. Yeah, I think that's for me, what is something that makes visuals feel organic is that it's all continuous motion. Anytime there are discrete jumps or, things teleporting around, it starts to feel very synthetic, which of course is the vibe that people can go for. It's just an observation I'm making here. This has been a wonderful jam session. Thank you, Cleary, again for hosting and taking on the visuals today. And if you would like to participate in a jam like this, you are absolutely welcome to join. They happen on the weekend, every weekend. It might be Saturday, it might be Sunday, depending on where you are. Beginners are welcome, veterans welcome. Enjoy live coding. See you next time.